You're listening to Steal This Idea, the only podcast that follows OJ Simpson on Twitter.
I guess just steal it. Steal this idea. Yes, steal this idea.
Steal this idea.
Stop what you're doing right now and steal this idea. Steal this idea. Steal it. All that matters is you're stealing ideas.
I'm telling you right now, you need to steal this idea.
Steal it. Just steal it.
Can I steal it?
Steal this idea.
Welcome back, everyone, to Steal This Idea, a podcast. Yes, Andre, Scott, we're here. A lot of listeners, I imagine, have just migrated from Extra Guac. Millions listeners have now suddenly migrated over to this podcast.
Legions.
Yes. So for those who don't know, Steal This Idea, this is a podcast that me and Andre have just created. This is the episode 1. And this podcast is where, we are just shy of genius business entrepreneurs. But the problem is we don't have the time in the day.
No way.
To flesh out these ideas, to fund them. And so what we've done is we've, really out of charity, I would say, made this podcast as a gift to the people.
Exactly.
Where we
For uncreative losers.
For uncreative losers.
If you're an entrepreneur, you got all this time, you got all this money.
If you're a trust fund baby,
oh yeah,
you got money in the bank, and you just need that one good idea. This is the podcast for you. Or even if you just you're an idea person yourself, you love fun new ideas. So we have a couple different segments we'll go through, but the meat of every episode, one of us will present a what we would consider a very good idea, and the other person we try and sell them on it, and then really, if anybody listening wants to make this, take it and run with it, like we give you permission to steal this idea.
Yes,
we would hope there's some kind souls out there. If you happen to become a millionaire from one of these, maybe kick us a thank you check,
a fat thank you check.
Yeah, all stock options are fine as well. Low risk. Before we get into the meat of the episode, again, my name is Scott Knudsen. You probably have heard of me from Extra Guac, surely. You've probably heard of the co-host Andre Washington. If you watched Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2, he's an extra in that.
That's right.
The 2016 Summer Olympics, he was in the swimming, was it the breaststroke or?
It was freestyle.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, freestyle.
And if you're also in the debate scene, there's a good chance you've heard.
Huge in the debate. Legendary.
Yes. So we are pseudo entrepreneurs, self-titled geniuses. I think let's, before we hop into, I got a really good idea. I think I'm going to win over Andre on this one. Let's do a little segment we call Good Idea, Bad Idea.
Love this.
Concept behind this is we are marketed to constantly. And there's good ideas, there's bad ideas. And we want to discuss those, kind of a short form. Is this product, is this gadget, is this thing really gonna take off, or is this just a piece of crap? Andre, you start off. What's a good idea, bad idea you've seen?
So I got an Instagram ad the other week for the Crunch Cup, the world's greatest portable cereal cup, and everybody seemed really hyped on this. I think the Instagram group message that Scott and I are in, it was going off on how awesome this product is, and I'm curious. I want to hear your thoughts. So basically, the concept is that it's a cup that has a cereal compartment and a milk compartment,
almost like a blender bottle.
Mm-hmm. And as you drink out of the cup, milk meets cereal as it enters your mouth.
Oh,
yeah, that's my understanding. It's almost, it looks like a futuristic device of some sort.
I was under the impression that the only point of it was basically just a way to keep both in a consolidated spot.
Yeah.
And so like you untwist it and then dump it in. Now you've got.
No, you're completely wrong.
So that was my initial impression.
Yeah.
It's like, what a convenient way to carry both cereal and milk and not fractionize.
Totally get you. So if you're listening at home, look it up. It's called the Crunch Cup, but I'll give you the quick synopsis. It's basically a huge cup with a center column that stores cereal, and then in the bottom area for milk. And as you tilt it towards your mouth, milk comes out of one hole, cereal comes out of the other hole, and you get basically cereal happening. Your mouth is the bowl in the end. It says the cereal and milk don't meet until they hit your mouth.
That is amazing.
I think, I mean, not to poke holes in the idea that I brought, but a horrible idea. The reason being that, one, I don't eat a lot of cereal. I'm not a cereal person.
I used to be a big
didn't
cereal
grow up
guy.
on cereal. I think a lot of people are cereal people, so maybe I am just the wrong audience. But to me, I don't want like you have to have that like 3 to 5 seconds of marination,
Sure.
so that the cereal isn't intolerably crunchy and hard.
There's only one cereal that would have the exception, and that's Fruity Pebbles, where it's like the minute
where
those things touch
it's
milk,
like-
that's porridge. I
don't think it's a good idea.
I grew up a cereal guy, and I get what they're going for here, which is like, oh, like how convenient. Like this makes it the longevity of the bowl of cereal. But I think a big part of cereal eating is I know my ratio, right? The milk.
Yes.
My wife's milk to cereal ratio is insane to me. It's like
high cereal or high milk?
High cereal. It's like a bowl of cereal and like a teaspoon of milk. Like there's no milk in there. I'm like, what do you? That's not cereal.
That's a really weird behavior. You should definitely talk to your wife about that.
Slightly wet cereal is what that is.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I like it as much milk as possible and then keep filling that milk up until I get a good saturation.
See, and I would see myself as a 50-50 person. I want a nice wet cereal, right? And so to me, this product is very, very dumb.
So we got a thumbs down from Andre. I'm probably gonna say bad idea on this.
Yeah, I think they met their goal on Kickstarter though, so other people feel differently.
All right, well, I got an idea for you here.
Okay.
That was pitched to me
Let's
also
hear
on
it.
Instagram.
Yes.
Maybe you've seen this one. This one's called Eyes on Board.
Eyes on Board. Have not heard of it. I don't think.
So the premise behind this is that clearly there's an epidemic of people who are getting motion sick in the car or train. And so these are glasses that you can wear that eliminate motion sickness when you're reading. Now, in theory, that sounds okay. Maybe that's not the worst thing, but let me just give you
I want a visual.
Let me show you a picture. of
Oh
what
my gosh.
these look like. For those who can't see this, if you could imagine life preservers, buoys, 4 of them, 2 around your eyes, and then 2 on the side.
Yeah.
Like the ugliest glasses that you could ever imagine.
So is there any insight into what the science is? Because
yes. So
I look at that and I think complete crackpot idea. There's no way that works.
So on the inside of these rings is a liquid that like it as you turn, it's like on a level, and for what somehow having those in your peripheral, it like level sets you so you don't get motion sick, I guess.
Bad idea.
Horrible idea.
And here's the thing though, is way beyond just that they clearly are not a fashion accessory. They look stupid. I would be so embarrassed to be wearing those on any train in any country. But beyond that is it's just like almost a specialty medical device where it's like, if your motion sickness is so bad that you're willing to wear that, you should see a doctor and get a pill.
get vertigo pills.
And if it's so minor that it isn't bad, like that, if it's minor to the point that you haven't already seen a doctor, then you should just take something over the counter.
Right.
There's no world where anybody should get specialty glasses for dealing with motion sickness that look like that.
And you know what you should do if you're getting motion sick? Stop reading. Stop being on your phone.
Also true.
Like what the things that
there
are
are
causing
so many solutions to motion sickness beyond crazy glasses.
Yeah. So maybe it's a much broader epidemic than we're aware of. Feel free to tweet in or email in and let us know.
Motion sickness, I think, is a weird category where I don't know a lot of people with severe motion sickness beyond like boats.
Right. I almost feel like it's like, I wonder if we'll see a raise in the same way that like erectile dysfunction was like, is this really a problem? Or are you just like telling everybody,
suddenly something I'm getting an ad for?
Suddenly it's like, well, hold on, do I have erectile? I don't know. Maybe I should talk to my doctor about this.
No, I actually could see that. I could see myself next time I'm reading in a car thinking like, wow, I'm actually getting really motion sick only because of this conversation.
Yeah. Well, we had 2 bad ideas today. Maybe next episode we'll do 2 good ideas.
I'm going to try and come with something good next time.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the meat of the episode here. This is the official Steal This idea. Now, this is an idea that let me paint the scene here for you.
I'm going into my mental theater.
We had a discussion just the other day. My wife texted me. She was very flustered about having to cook dinner.
Yes.
We've all gone through that experience of I don't know what to cook.
Uh-huh.
Now, the problem is, once you hit about 6 o'clock, which is general dinner time, your options for eating quickly start to go down very drastically, right? So if I'm with my family and I want to go out, I have to go to, let's say, Olive Garden or some sit-down restaurant. So I got to drive there half an hour. Then I got to wait for my food, order, right? That's it. So now I'm not eating until 8.
Totally.
Right? So, and it's expensive.
Agreed.
So the alternative is fast food, right? It's pizza, it's McDonald's. It's not good for me. It's making us fat.
Yes.
So what I am proposing here, Andre, is a little storefront, a little brick and mortar called Andre's Kitchen.
Uh-huh.
Now the idea here, Andre, is when you call and you order Andre's Kitchen, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is turn your stove to 350 degrees to preheat it.
Right.
And you're going to drive as it preheats to Andre's Kitchen.
Okay.
Now within Andre's Kitchen, you're going to have basically like cookie sheet meals where there's going to have a protein and a vegetable and a side. Already, they've been made all day, and every day you might have like a new different recipe or whatever, but you have a steak and potatoes and a salad and rolls or something like that. And so when you go to drive through to pick it up, I hand you basically a cookie sheet with almost prepared food, and all you have to do is just put it in your oven.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
I think actually a really good idea. And I was pretty turned off because where I thought you were going with this was like Andre's Kitchen. It's a healthy food place that's open 24 hours. I was like, okay, that is not unique in the slightest. So you took it to an interesting place. I like it. I think that things that are hot right now, meal prep. So what you're talking about, like one sheet dinners are super popular.
Freshly,
Right. Exactly. But you don't, but you hit 6 o'clock and it's like, I got to go to the grocery store. Even in a world where you're super into the sheet pan dinner concept, you're like 2 hours out from having dinner at that point.
I still have to prep it. I still have to buy it and cut it.
Which sucks.
This is what Papa Murphy's is to pizza.
Right.
As what like dinner is, where it's like.
That's a great analysis, is just Papa Murphy's, but for
regular dinner.
Yeah, I think really, really good idea. I think that where I see holes, particularly is just around like location availability, because the concept of like, I'm going to preheat my oven probably takes 15 minutes to preheat to 350 degrees.
Yeah.
So the odds that there's an Andre's Kitchen within 15 minutes of every American, super low. But the idea really of almost anywhere on my drive home that I could stop and pick up a meal that I would just put in the oven,
pre-marinated chicken,
is insane and would be so good.
It's basically a bag. It's a salad kit.
Yeah.
It's maybe it's a pre-seasoned roll or like almost ready to go rolls or whatever. And I think really the reason that HelloFresh and Blue Apron like took off is this idea of like, oh, I would rather cook, but like I don't know what to do. I don't know what to order. And so I think you'd have 4 proteins. You'd have a fish, a chicken, a steak, and a pork option, and then you'd have 2 options of vegetables and one third option and a drink.
Yeah.
The other advantage is that because you're not actually cooking it, you don't really need a full kitchen. You're just doing a bunch of prep work. So like you're cutting out, like you could do it in a pretty small storefront with limited people.
Yeah. No, what I'm picturing is close to like the Crumble model.
Right.
Where it's really, so Crumble is a local cookie company. There's a bunch of them. They're all over the country, but the concept is just like you drop in, you pick up a cookie. There's like maybe one table to sit at.
Right.
It's like a Papa Murphy's kind of situation.
If you need to wait, it's like you're waiting 5 minutes.
Totally. You're behind 2 people.
Yeah.
And I think there's some ways to iterate on that too, right? Where it's just a storefront. All they're doing is meal prep all day.
And it's just dinner also. Like maybe you can move into lunch.
I think it's really a dinner play for sure. And maybe on Mother's Day, you have like a special pick up your brunch for tomorrow kind of situation. But the primary play is clearly dinner. And then I think it just rotates, right? It's like, oh, what's playing at Andre's Kitchen this week?
It's almost like an escape room. It's like, what's the menu of the month? Or
yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm picking up. And that sounds awesome.
So the hard thing, so the 2 hard things I see with this, one is price point, like finding that sweet spot of like, I'm about to drop $40 on a meal. Is that like, even though I know it's worth it, like I might normally spend that at a grocery store, but like it feels different, right? Because I'm getting all this other stuff. Like you don't realize the cost of your meal at a grocery store usually. And compared to like takeout, it's like, it's going to be much more expensive. And so finding that price point, I think it's going to be really tricky.
Right.
Because it's a margin play at that point. Like how do I make money? Am I selling enough of these? Like, because at a cookie joint, or even at Papa Murphy's, the reason that works is because the overhead on pizza is huge. The markup is huge. Their cost per dish is really low. So like that's going to be a tough play there. It's like figuring out the right cost model. And then of course marketing that, right? Like do I, on your way home, like, is my first thought to pick up Andre's Kitchen, or is my first thought, I'm just going to go Chick-fil-A again? You know, is it too much?
Yeah, but here's the thing. So I'm doing the opposite of what I'm supposed to do on the podcast, where I'm supposed to beat Scott's idea. The reality is it's hard to beat. And here's a couple of my thoughts is, one, we know that the demand is already there to like have something that isn't just Chick-fil-A again. Right. So in a world where I could even picture a world where I could drive through to this place and then just pop it in the oven when I get home, such a no-brainer.
Right.
Here's the second piece is pricing. Totally get it. Definitely a tricky issue, but I think, let's say as an entrepreneur, I went into it with one goal, and the goal is just to beat the price per meal on Blue Apron.
Sure.
Right. Let's say that that's the competitor. I think even with a low volume storefront in a world where it's not billions of franchises,
sure,
you can beat the price because you don't have to ship them the meal. They come to you.
That's true.
You don't have to package a million. Like for example, Blue Apron's ridiculous. They package this like tiny little thing of ranch and they put a sticker that says ranch on it.
Right.
In this world, it's like nothing is pre-portioned, or it's pre-portioned, but it's not packaged that way.
Right.
It's literally like a sheet that you hand the customer and they go home and put it in the oven.
Yeah.
I think it's not that hard. Even you hit a certain customer volume and you can beat like the price per serving of those huge services, and presumably even offer a better product because you don't have to ship somebody like fresher meat, because Blue Apron like ships you something that's been vacuum sealed.
Sure.
Fresher produce, fresher meat, less waste. Like there's definitely an environmental play, which is just like,
and a local, like, hey, this is sourced locally, organic. Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
could tap into, which is they're very hot.
right. I think like it's a tough idea to beat. I think that there definitely are questions around like food safety and food compliance around like selling people raw meat or something. But
Sure, yeah, and this idea of like the reason that I'm not starting Andre's Kitchen is like it feels like a lot of work to get off the ground.
Oh, it would be impossible for somebody that. But if you
like
were,
if you're a restaurant, if you have a food truck and you're like
Yeah.
already doing this, I would say like pivot away from Irish taco food truck and pivot into like storefront. You know, where like you're gonna pay however much for rent.
Well, in good context, like my mom works for a company in Salt Lake called Wasatch Fresh, and similar concept. They basically similar to like Freshly.
Sure.
They basically have a list of customers. They make a meal every day. They deliver the meal. Typically like
Schwann's or
retired
whatever.
people or older people that don't want to cook. It's a great meal, but it's at a certain price point where it's basically it's a reheat situation, not a
cook
from scratch situation. And they basically just have a kitchen. They make meals all day. They run out and deliver meals. This is really similar from like a business perspective, but the customer comes to you. I don't think there's a delivery play at all. It stops making sense if it's like a DoorDash situation.
Sure. And maybe down the road, maybe you might find there is a certain type of meal that works really well in this scenario. But yeah, I think.
But for the same reason that like Papa Murphy's makes a deliberate decision
not to deliver.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's because they make money by having you drive to them, right?
Right. Like I don't have to wait. I don't have to hire drivers. Like
exactly.
Yeah, I have two. Yeah, they have two guys.
Papa Murphy's literally proves the business model.
Yeah,
which is just like people will pick something up on their way home. It's a higher quality product than what you get at Pizza Hut. It doesn't take 2 hours to get to your house. And it tastes good, and it feeds you.
And you can even buy it and not cook it that night. You can cook it the next night. So there's this idea of like I might
stick this in the. I buy 3.
Yeah,
and I just put them in my.
Or I buy
fridge or my
one
freezer.
and I this is the base to a bigger meal, and I'm gonna make my own sides for tomorrow or whatever. Well, I feel pretty good about round 1 here, Andre.
No, that was solid.
You're gonna have to bring some big guns next episode.
Really feel like that was really good.
All right, let's do a quick speed round. Speed round is going to be kind of pop culture, going to be general things. One sentence, kind of shoot it up or shoot it down if we think this is a good idea, a bad idea. Kind of the very quick and dirty, why this is good, why this is stupid.
Yes.
So I got a couple here. First one, easy one. Robert Pattinson is Batman. Good idea, bad idea?
Bad idea. Robert Pattinson is definitely in the category of actors that, like Daniel Radcliffe, will always be known for one role.
Sure.
I think it's really, really difficult to divorce them from. Maybe that's coming from somebody that doesn't.
You don't think he
watch
could
a
pull
ton of
Heath
movies.
Ledger and
Well, he definitely wouldn't be playing Heath Ledger. Right?
Well, in the sense that like Heath Ledger was up until Dark
Okay.
Knight was kind of typecast a little bit into rom-coms.
Yeah.
And then moved into a very dark and was, I mean,
I think here's the thing. Joker, I think but maybe Batman has the same play. Joker, almost anybody could be in the role. And because of the like intense costume of the role, it's like, I don't even know who I'm looking at.
That's fair.
Batman actually has the same thing though. I mean,
he's got a mask.
In a Batman movie, what percentage is Batman unmasked?
Sure. I mean,
Like
at that point,
25%?
it's Bruce Wayne, right? Like
Yeah.
I would argue, like people give Ben Affleck a pretty bad time. I think he's like a decent Bruce Wayne.
I don't agree with the Ben Affleck hate at all.
Yeah. And as a Batman, I think it's like, he's okay. He's just
Yeah.
as good as most people. But like, whereas conversely, I think Christian Bale is not a great Bruce Wayne. Personally,
Really bad opinion, but I guess that's fine.
Okay, next one here. The MacBook Pro starting at $6,000.
Good idea. I mean, Apple, here's the thing. Every Apple release, people are up in arms about the pricing of Apple products. This has been talked about ad infinitum. And then people buy them anyway. And I think like the Mac Pro has always been clearly a luxury product.
Right.
And even way more than a MacBook or MacBook Air or any of those things.
Yeah.
If you are the kind of person that's going to invest in a Mac Pro, it doesn't matter if it's $8,000, you'll pay.
It definitely like caters right into their brand of like, we make nice stuff. Everybody uses our stuff, and it makes the average consumer who probably won't buy the MacBook Pro want to buy any iteration of Mac. It's like, oh, well, it comes from this really great thing. So I get it.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare being called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's it. Even though this is the fourth Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
So not a crazy Call of Duty person.
Sure.
So it's like you could tell me that we were on 3, and I'd be like, yeah, that's
Well.
right.
So this is what makes it interesting. So Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3. Call of Duty 4 was called Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Right.
Then they made the spin-off of Modern Warfare. So there was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And then they had another spin-off in the Black Ops series.
Right.
And then they tried to do a few other spin-offs into like Infinite Warfare and Ghosts. None of them panned out.
Yes.
And so now this is the fourth Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but it's just called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's it.
Doesn't make sense. Not if they have like unique franchise lines, which I know they do. I played Black Ops 4.
Right.
So I'm not a complete idiot.
You're not out of the know.
Exactly. I'm in the know on video games. Not a good idea. It will confuse people. You want clear and precise product lines.
Right.
That seems obvious.
I get the intent of like the Modern Warfare brand, very strong, and they want to tap into that. But I think it would have been better to just call it Modern Warfare 5 or 4, whatever.
Right.
Like I think it would.
But here, I mean, we have this situation with the iPhone too, where it's like, when do the numbers end? When do we do something different?
Right.
And I kind of
because they kind of do that with the MacBook, where it's just like it's just the 2018 MacBook now, and like I wonder if we're at that point.
They don't want to do that though, because then it's like you're basically creating Madden games. It's just like nothing is new. You're just slapping a new number on it every year. Yeah. I think you want to avoid that.
Last one here, Space Jam 2 with LeBron James.
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Well, so this is actually the first I'm hearing of this, so I need to do a better job of reading before I get on this. But LeBron James doesn't make sense.
Really?
No, it definitely doesn't. LeBron James is a controversial figure.
He is, but he's like a pretty prolific. I mean, he's probably the most prolific basketball player of this current generation.
Point of, it's a freaking Looney Tunes movie. It's not like a Hall of Fame thing. I don't think it matters how prolific the basketball player is. Space Jam will forever live in the memory of 90s kids, 2000s kids as an amazing film.
You don't think it holds up?
Let's not spoil the legacy by by trying to franchise. Doesn't make sense.
You're saying don't make E.T. 2. That's what you're saying.
No, exactly. Let's just let Space Jam be what it is. Let's not try to iterate an amazing formula. Let's just let it be.
Let it be. I think,
and definitely not with LeBron James. I think that's so stupid. I think it almost would have been better to say Space Jam 2, different sport, like
Air Bud. Like first was basketball, and then it was Air Bud 2 was.
I'm just trying to think of equally like Space Jam 2, Peyton Manning. Like I don't really know what that would look like. Tom Brady,
like Space Touchdown, but with
Space.
With Peyton Manning would actually be good because he's like barely retired, kind of like Michael Jordan was like.
Yeah, it has to be.
We got to bring back Peyton Manning to throw the football in space or whatever.
Yeah, so I think there's options there, not the option that they took.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't see this.
Also, Looney Tunes are dead, so it's time to really, really get past that.
Yeah. All right, last segment, or do you want to cut it off? We're at 24 minutes here.
Last segment.
Steal this screenplay.
24 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're making good time.
We're making good time.
Yeah. Still the screenplay. Love this concept. So basically, we've got all these entrepreneurial ideas, but maybe you're more of a Hollywood type.
Maybe you're in the. Maybe you've. I really wish I could just write a screenplay, but I don't. I'm stuck on page 1.
Right. You're living in LA in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Waiting tables.
You're trying to make rent. It's tough. But you know that if you could just get that like dream that everybody dreams of before they write their screenplay, then you could be set.
You bump into Rob Reiner, you bump into Steven Spielberg at a coffee shop, and you just happen to have.
Yes. And Steven says, pitch your idea. This is your one chance.
This is your one chance. But yeah, what do you got, kid?
And maybe you don't have anything. Maybe, like I said, you're waiting for that dream that comes in the night.
Yep.
You don't need that. You have a podcast.
You got a podcast. Steal this idea. We have just given you. We're about to give you 2 solid screenplays to steal. Andre, you start us off here.
So I had this thought. I was sitting with my cat at the emergency 24-hour ER vet. My cat's fine. Do not worry. But going through that, it's like one of the most traumatic environments I've ever been in. I've probably been to the emergency vet like 5 times in my life.
Never been to a vet.
It's just a constant stream of crazy people walking in. The last time we went, 2 twin, huge black labs. She comes in and she's like, they got into the rat poison in the shed out back. And then it's like panic. It's like it's a code 1. Everything's happening. The dogs are fine because I guess rat poison really doesn't affect dogs. Everything is fine, but it's just watching like a revolving door of crazy stories. And it got into my head. I was like, why is there not a Grey's Anatomy, but for the 24-hour vet hospital?
Yes.
What there is already is on Animal Planet, there are vet shows that are like live reality TV. Dogs come in, they die, whatever. This would be all drama, crazy medical cases. So this dog has.
So is this more like ER in tone, or is it more like Superstore in tone?
I think it's definitely not Superstore.
So it's not a comedy.
No. It's Grey's Anatomy. It's like
there's a little levity in Grey's Anatomy.
The vets love each other. Like there's crazy romances happening, and then at the same time they're dealing with crazy medical cases.
Because I do think there's a case to make a Community or almost Parks and Rec style, like the zaniness that goes on.
I think, but here's the thing.
I'm just saying there's no.
I agree. There definitely is an angle.
Maybe a holiday
crazy
episode.
Zany, but I think pets are so dramatic. They're so tied to
and people
peers.
love. Yeah, that's true.
And what I struggle with when I watch medical dramas is like you don't care about the patient typically, and often you hate the patient. In this case, you would always love the patient. That's true. By default.
You love the dog. You're like, I need this dog to live.
There's so much opportunity, and I imagine it would be a pretty cost-effective production. Because you're paying fewer extras or guest stars. You're really just buying a dog or doing whatever that looks like. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I think that it would be an amazing show. Tugs immediately at the heartstrings of America.
Yes.
And you can literally rip off Grey's Anatomy plot lines, but put them in a vet hospital.
I don't hate it.
Created a great show.
I like it. I think there's some. I think you got
I sense that you don't really watch medical dramas.
I don't,
and that's why I feel like you don't really get the concept.
But I see like the points you're making in that people are attached to animals.
House?
I've watched some House.
You should try and commit to one of those shows because they are good. Grey's Anatomy is not good, but House is great.
Sure,
you could make House an evil, like kind of an evil genius type primary vet, and then his team of
almost like what's it called like a very naturalistic, like a kind of guy has a voodoo.
Which would also be great is like the Caesar Milan, like, oh my gosh, the main vet, he has such a connection with animals. It transcends all reality.
Yes.
And all like you're living every episode to see the crazy moment where he like touches the dog and he just knows what's wrong.
It's like, this isn't fleas.
this is dog cancer.
This is ringworm. I'm on board. I wouldn't watch it, but I would fund it for sure.
You will watch it.
I will. Okay, I will watch it.
When we are collecting royalty checks on this idea, then you'll be watching.
All right. Well, I got a screenplay for you here.
Okay.
This is not an original idea, but I think
the point of the podcast.
Hold on.
Ideas.
This is not a new idea of a show. This is a reboot of a franchise that I think that society is perfectly geared towards right now. It blows my mind that this hasn't become a thing yet. So this is a live action of a beloved cartoon from when we were younger. I believe there should be a live action Jetsons. Nick Offerman, we're
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
like it is all the things that we worry about the future, like the Elon Musk, the AI, the conversations we're having right now.
Yeah.
Like you could fit all that political dialogue into a futuristic Jetsons show right now. Like you could make fun, like, you know,
Right.
like it's not a serious show. It's a whatever the
That's confusing to me though. Is are you going to deal with the?
so I think it's
is Rosie going to kill the family?
no,
situation?
no,
Or-
but like I think like the episodes will talk about like what are the consequences, you know, like we'll show in funny ways the consequences of having everyone have self-driving cars.
Right.
And like
the same way that like Modern Family shows the consequences of mixed families.
exactly like
intergenerational.
Yeah,
conflict.
exactly like Modern Family is like structure-wise. I don't think you do a camera pull away effect, but I think you
Yeah.
have like Stephen Merchant or like as Rosie, or you know, or like you have very iconic characters that people know, you know, George Jetson and like
Right.
this whole world that like everybody remembers the Jetsons. When you think of the Jetsons, like you have an image, and I think you could very easily tap into that. And I think people would at least give it a
Agreed.
season.
I think
The writing would be critical.
from the studio, I'm going to be the studio finance director on this one. I think what this does do is it taps into the audience that actually still watches shows like this, which is of a certain age.
Yes.
Where they watch the Jetsons growing up. Maybe they watched the Jetsons as a young adult.
It's on Boomerang.
Yeah, they're catching it on Boomerang because they still have cable. So you tap into an audience that will sit down and watch a sitcom on live TV every week.
Yeah, proven audience.
Yes.
So you've got
I think this plays perfly as a
Fox cable
NBC 8 o'clock Wednesday night
100%.
situation. It would play horribly on like a Netflix original.
Oh no, yeah, I don't think he would do well there.
No way. But I think you can get a 49-year-old who watched the Jetsons to watch this show and probably love it, even if the writing isn't that good.
Yeah, I think that's the safe bet, right? But if the writing happens to be good,
Then you can get a bigger
now,
audience.
now you're tapping
I will
into
say,
a
like,
new
I
generation.
look at my younger sisters, 18, 19, 20-year-old. Probably maybe could name a Jetson.
but they know what the Jetsons are.
They would be familiar with the concept. I don't see.
It's like the Flintstones. Like I don't think
Yeah.
the Flintstones translates as well, and especially when you look at like the movies they've tried to make, I think it's like this is weird. And like when they tried to like, yeah, we'll have John Goodman be Fred Flintstone. What a great idea.
which is a good idea, but nobody wants to watch the Flintstones live action.
No, but I think at Jetsons, like technology to the point where we're like there's cool stuff happening right now.
Yeah.
And we're interested. We're like futurism is a big thing, and there's
Yeah.
conversations of climate change that you can have in here. Like there's a lot to play with.
No, there's a lot to do. And I think what it taps into is the basis that I think what people would like to see on TV right now is like a positive futurism.
Yes.
Where it's not apocalyptic. It's not like
It's not
the
Blade
Earth is
Runner.
not destroyed. We can maybe visualize a future where technology is advanced, people live a life of a certain quality, but they're still dealing with everyday issues. I think people want to see
Totally.
a future of the world.
A healthy future where it's like we have our own problems now, and like we don't devolve into the space people from Wall-E who just are fat and lazy.
Yeah.
Like there still are people who have jobs and they still have to deal with like corporate politics and bullcrap. But
Yeah.
instead,
But it comments on the way that shows often set in the future do on how we overcame global warming or how we overcame automation. And it's like, oh, remember 6 decades ago when
Yes.
all the trees were dying? Oh, we built, however that might look.
Right.
Space windmills to blow the heat away, whatever. I think that
Space windmills
yes,
to blow-
which that's another steal this idea.
That is
space windmills
that
to
is
blow the heat off of the earth. The soup bowl effect. You understand? So that's a different idea. I do think the show could play well to a certain audience on cable TV, 8 p.m. Wednesday night.
just not Netflix.
The Jetsons,
The Jetsons.
not Netflix. I would never watch the show on Netflix, but Netflix would also almost certainly fund it.
Now, the hope, Andre, is that as this show progresses, people start sending in their ideas. And
Yes.
at this stage, we would have a quick mailbag and we'd say, John Schmo from Milwaukee, he's got a great idea, or he's got a screenplay idea, and we could have a little banter. We don't have anything right now because this is episode 1. But
Next time.
we'll probably eventually have a Twitter handle, maybe an email, Steal This Idea, at Steal This Idea or whatever it ends up being. Steal This Idea podcast, probably.
Something like that.
I think that's the show.
That was fun. I think this could continue.
This could continue. That
If
is.
you're listening to this in the distant future and you found this on an old USB thumb drive, then you'll know we gave up. But if you're listening to this because
If this is like an A&E, like remember the rise of Steal This Idea. Let's take a look back at Andre Washington. Like there's Steve Jobs.
this is where it all
There's
started.
Tim Cook. There's Andre Washington. These great titans of industry. This is where it started.
This is where it started.
And we're still working on the sign off, but eventually we'll have some clever
We'll have a
thing.
fun.
Did it.